Thank you to all who are gathered here today. We acknowledge that we are on the sacred ancestral homelands of the Duwamish and Coast Salish people. We acknowledge this land and its stewards with gratitude. My name is Sasha Taylor, and this is my colleague Ashley Street. We are with Leon Solutions Group. It's an honor to be here to facilitate this task force, starting with today's kickoff meeting. This task force was born out of a tragic incident, but it really underscored the need to rethink public safety and security and its direct impacts on and around transit.
I invite you all to look around this room and look at the table and look at the diverse participants that are here today. We have mayors from multiple cities of King County. We have elected representatives, council members. We have diverse representation from law enforcement, from sheriffs to Washington State Patrol, to the police departments, to the transit security officers and leadership. We have labor unions, ATU officers, operators, riders, rider unions, community service organizations, and multiple transit agencies and their staff here today. And what that diverse representation tells me, and why we're so excited to be consultants for this task force, is that you all get it. You get that it's not one transit agency's problem. You get that it's not one city's problem. You get that it's not one union's problem. It's all of our problems. It's our community problems. And for us to create solutions that really stick, for us to create resources and allocate them in the right way, for us to create policies that really make change, it requires diverse representation to identify the gaps and challenges and create solutions so that we can improve public and transit safety for all of our communities. And this spirit of diverse representation we'll see through this program today. We'll start by having speakers come up and discuss their commitment and what they see as the purpose of this task force. We'll then have another group of speakers, riders, law enforcement, operators, and community service organizations that will share with you the challenges and gaps that they see and solutions that are already underway. Then we'll break for a brief lunch and continue in our small group exercises. This will give you all an opportunity to share your unique experiences and expertise on helping us identify the solutions that need to happen and identify the gaps and challenges that we want to tackle as a holistic task force.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Greg Woodfill. I'm president of ATU Local 587. We appreciate each and every one of you for attending this task force today, which our union called for after the brutal murder of our union brother, Shawn Yim, whose memory we will never let die. I want to thank IAM District 751 President John Holden and the machinists for allowing us to meet in this House of Labor. Thousands of our members, along with many of this region's transit riders, bear the disproportionate brunt of the current state of public safety. They bear the brunt when we lack resources or effective policies to address homelessness, drug and alcohol addiction, and mental health issues. They also bear the brunt of no accountability for unsafe behavior on and around public transit. These public and transit safety issues most directly affect our members, our passengers, your citizens, and constituents. We obviously can't solve all of the public safety issues with this task force, but we can and must devise a more coordinated and creative approach to combat their destabilizing effects on our public transit system. We have far too much invested and at stake here. We are at a tipping point that leaves us all with no choice but to act. We must all work together to have any chance of making our public transit system safer and more secure. Without a safe, secure, and reliable public transit system, our communities won't thrive or reach their full potential. Our union holds Metro and King County accountable for the safety of our members and their employees. But we fully recognize that they can't do it alone. No single entity is responsible for our current state of public safety, and no entity alone can improve it. Our union's goal was to gather you all here today to hopefully start coming up with solutions collectively. Less finger pointing and more cooperation are desperately needed. We are transit workers. We can't protect our members and our passengers alone. We are counting on all of you here today for your commitment to working together to restore safety and accountability on public transit. Thank you all again for being here today. Our union appreciates your participation. Our members and passengers have seen, heard, and noted your recent support. They are all now watching, waiting for, and counting for you to act. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm King County Executive Dow Constantine. Everyone deserves to feel safe in their community, and that includes on and around transit, which is why we are all deeply concerned about recent violence. It's a reminder of the ongoing need to take a holistic approach to public safety, and that is why today is so important. This forum is an opportunity to shape solutions that are not only effective, but are also wise and compassionate. Solutions that will ensure safety for everyone, for our operators, for our passengers, for people living in our communities, for everyone who relies on public transportation to get where they need to go. And we are here to build a future where our transit system is reliable, where it's safe, and where it is an. Those of us dedicated to delivering and promoting public transportation know that it is one of the safest and most secure ways to travel. In fact, the rate of traffic-related deaths and injuries on public is just a fraction. About 1/10 of those is seen with car travel. But no amount of violence or on or around public transportation is acceptable. And there are more interventions that we simply must pursue to increase safety. We need active safety and security programs that employ crime prevention through environmental design, police and private security patrols, cameras, and more. We need to enforce our codes of conduct and our fare collection rules. And I am happy to have the King County Sheriff's Office here with us today, as well as representatives of King County Metro and Sound Transit to discuss how to improve these strategies. And I want to tip my cap to the Sheriff's Office, to our Human Services folks and others who joined together as we launched last May 1st Operation Safe Transit. In addition to connecting many people in the community who are struggling with the behavioral health services and housing they need, there have been now well over 500 arrests for people who have been acting out on and around transit. And we're going to continue that work in again, a multi-pronged approach to make sure that we make the transit system as safe as we can. We need to enhance how we communicate as well with our passengers, with our communities, providing information and guidance on transit safety and security. And we need to continue our focus and investment, improving and supporting the work that we're doing to connect people with the help they need. Kelly Ryder is here from our Department of Community and Human Services to discuss the efforts that are going on to get people who are unhoused into housing, to get people who need mental health help into that help, to get people the help they need to live a better life. The bottom line is this: we need to build public trust in our services. Operators, passengers, potential passengers, neighborhood residents, and businesses want and should expect realistic assessments of any risk, as well as the ways to reduce that risk. And they need to see that transit agencies are responsive and committed to improving public safety. Now, as we continue this important work, I want to remind everyone, as I remind myself, that public transportation is not just a way to get around the region. It is a powerful part of the solution to many of the challenges we face. Connecting people, yes, to greater economic opportunity, to jobs, to education, but also building a sustainable future by reducing carbon emissions and local air pollution and making our communities cleaner and healthier, and also creating community. Because transit is one of the ways in which we create and strengthen the bonds in our communities. A well-planned, transit-oriented development with walkable streets fosters positive interactions and a sense of belonging and safety and security for all. So let's continue this commitment to ensuring that every person feels safe and valued and is in fact safe on our transit system. I look forward to the solutions coming out of today's forum. I look forward to implementing and supporting those solutions. And I want to thank every person here for your commitment to public transit. Thank you so much.
My name is Michelle Allison. I am the general manager here at King County Metro. And I want to start by appreciating and extending the welcome to each of you for joining this conversation and being here today. I also would like to acknowledge the roughly 6,000 workers of King County Metro who every day show up to deliver service, to maintain facilities, to plan for our growth, who provide customer care and service, who engage with communities across this beautiful region so that our residents have the opportunity for mobility, for community making, for economic development, to go to church and school and their grocery stores. This isn't just service. It's vital public service that truly changes the lives of everyone who gets to have access to it. And part of that access is for it to be safe. So to our operators, our transit workers across the organization who show up every day in the roles that you have, thank you for your service. And we are here today to do our part to commit to making it a safer environment for you and those we serve. Safety remains Metro's #1 priority for our riders and our workforce. And as a service organization, Metro and myself, we have a responsibility each day to help deploy resources, build programs, enforce policies, and understand the conditions, and speak transparently about the experience on our system. While we continue to take proactive steps to support our employees and our riders, a regional approach that will tackle the broader challenges that can negatively affect communities. We need to make our communities safer, which will in turn make transit safer. We all benefit, so thank you for being part. Metro appreciates ATU 587's call for action for this task force. The diversity of leaders that I see in this room is inspiring. This is the way we make change. Whether you are an employee, a writer, a transit advocate, you deliver behavioral health support, an elected official, a labor leader, someone in public health, law enforcement, or security, it will take all of us to move the needle on meaningful change. At Metro, we continue and will continue to advance improvements for safety. We remain focused and committed to find more and new and better ways to enhance the safety of our service. We've continued to do that in a few key examples already to date. Our next set of buses will come with an improved safety partition already installed, and we will retrofit our existing 1,200 fleet. We've hired more security officers and transit police, and we will continue to do so. And we are looking to expand the work of the behavioral health specialists from our partner agencies represented here today at DCHS. We've reminded people our expectations of our code of conduct and the enforcement associated if it's violated. And we're also resuming our fair enforcement program. We're partnering with you to improve the door-to-door experience. A rider's journey begins before they enter the bus, and it isn't over when they disembark. And this is where you all come in. You are grappling with these issues in your community as well. And we all have resource constraints. There's so much more that we can do together to create the conditions to prevent, deter, and respond to security incidents. Our employees, writers, and your constituents shouldn't have to think twice about where they are if an incident happens, or doubt if help will come when they need it. Through coordination and collaboration, we can do better. We will do better. We look forward to this task force, and it's going to align many interests. It's going to provide a collaborative forum, give us data-informed interventions in the short, medium, and long term. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And it will ensure accountability for the organization, to our employees, to our writers, to our community partners. Our shared goal is measurable and sustainable, and it's going to provide safety improvements. It will make a difference in the lives of our employees and our writers, and we look forward to doing this work together.
Well, welcome everyone. My name is Claudia Balducci. I am a King County Council member. I represent District 6 on the King County Council. And I want to start just by thanking everyone. You all are taking a lot of time out of very busy days and all the important work. I see so many people here who are leaders in your communities. And the fact that you took the time to be here today is very meaningful to us. It's very meaningful to our communities and to our workers, because we know we are here today because we all know that one of the most fundamental purposes of local government, of all of our work, is safety. It's providing safe communities for the people who live in them. The day that we got the tragic news about our operator, Shawn Yim, who was killed at work, we started immediately talking about planning for this task force and for this kind of a gathering. I want to thank the leadership and membership of ATU 587 who called for this gathering, called for this work, and who inspired it, and who joined a planning group along with Metro leadership, Director Allison and her staff, my office, and Councilmember Dunn's office, and we formed a little planning group that worked on pulling this together today. So it is really pretty delightful to see us all gathering here together and really starting the work in earnest. We have a huge opportunity here that starts today. The amount of knowledge, expertise, understanding, creativity that is in this room is pretty astounding. And I want to encourage everybody as we go through the conversations to not hold back. I know quite a few people here who don't do that, but please don't be polite. Like, observe the real world rule. Please stop being polite and start being real. We need to really lay on the table what our challenges are, what our assets are, what we need, what we don't have. And then we can start to work on pulling together the things we need in order to build towards a safer system. And because our system is a public transit system, necessarily the problems are not just public safety, public transit problems, and the solutions are not just public transit solutions, they are public safety solutions. They spill, what happens in the community happens on the buses and trains, and vice versa. I am really, really delighted to be here. On behalf of the King County Council, I want to commit that I know my colleagues and I are thoroughly committed to do our part to bring resources and commitment, policy, expertise, and effort to this work, to do what we can to support a move towards a safer system. I want to acknowledge, I think I've seen people here, Councilmember Jorge Barone was here with us. I saw Rhonda Berry, who is Chief of Staff to our Council Chair, Gurmai Zahalai, and I especially want to shout out our newest council member, Deshaun Quinn, who is the chair of our Transportation Committee and therefore will have a key role. Yeah. And we really couldn't have a better person in that role because of all the many and broad expertise that he brings from working in transportation and being a city council member. So I just think we couldn't have a better person to be helping lead us in this work, Deshaun. Well, I look forward to the rest of the day. I am very hopeful that when we apply the wealth of knowledge and caring in this room, that we can make change and we can best honor Shawn Yim by making it so that people do not ever have to fear on our system, and that it is everything it can be and provides the services that people need and deserve every day. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Mayor Bruce Harrell. I'll be very brief. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to it. Thank you. That'd be a dream for a politician to actually do that one time, wouldn't it? In all seriousness, the city of Seattle recognizes that this is more than a Seattle problem. Today, it should be really twofold: ideas and commitments. You may have a good idea, but if we're not committed to seeing it to fruition, it's just an idea. It's unfortunate that we had Shawn Yim's death to wake us up. But if you do look at the circumstances and the facts with which led into that, we've had this problem for some time. I want to thank the county for this outstanding leadership in bringing us all together, all of the county leaders. I want to thank Amalgamated Transit 587 for organizing this, and I hope we have demonstrated to you that we all care. On the City of Seattle, I have my Public Safety Officer here, Natalie Walton Anderson, my Chief Public Safety Officer here. I saw her somewhere around here. Raise your hand right here. And I have our SDOT Director here, Adiam Emery, who is an engineer by profession, so she's going to engineer us into some great ideas. And I also have our finest officers, members from our police department and others here who we stand with and for and aligned with the ideas that will come out. We've demonstrated in our administration through passing the levy $9 million investment toward transit safety. We will try to demonstrate our commitment to both the drivers and the passengers that we believe transportation, particularly in transit, is a basic human need. It's as simple as that. When you look at some of the work we're trying to do around bus stops and some of our heavily trafficked areas, you'll see that we are aggressive because we lead with safety. I will say this, that I believe in the leaders around me. I believe in their integrity, their commitment. I believe in their devotion to safety. And Deshaun Quinn, who I would be remiss if I didn't say he went to Garfield High School, by the way. I'm very proud that you have taken the reins in the position that you've done. So I close by saying this, that our commitment, City of Seattle's commitment as the highest ranking official in the city is strong. We look forward to ideas. I tell my executive team all the way to show some vulnerability, to show some ideas. I was sitting in a meeting one time and I had an idea and these folks reported it to me and I said, I have an idea, and someone shouted out, that's a horrible idea. I was sort of thinking it sort of was, but I thought I'd still get it off my chest. And then I tried to advocate my idea, and then I talked to that person. I says, you know, if you shut down ideas like that, even if I'm the mayor, if you shut down, it stifles the ability for people to become creative. And we all have that creative gene inside us. So in this session, I hope that you show vulnerability, you show creativity. We come up with these great ideas, and then you have the people here, the elected leaders and the council members. You know, as mayors, we know who really holds the checkbook. It's those darn council members. So you have great leaders here that hold the checkbook as well. And when we work together, that's when the magic happens. So thank you for having here. The City of Seattle is all in, and I look forward to hearing about all these great ideas. Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin Schilling. I'm the mayor of Burien. I'm excited to be here today and work collaboratively with everybody. I don't have much else to add besides this. I rode the bus here today. It was a phenomenal experience. The driver was welcoming and awesome. The bus was clean. The difficulty we have in cities and as mayors and communities is providing an environment where community members know that they can trust that they're going to be safely getting on a bus, that they're going to be safely getting off a bus, that they're going to get to and from work on time, that they can trust that that experience is going to be as fast as possible, as positive as possible, and as welcoming as possible. And I had that experience today. So I just want to recognize the amazing work of bus drivers, of ATU, of everyone here today to bring us together. And I think just to say that if we want things to be different, we have to do things differently. And we have to have the courage to just not only say that, but to put things into action. And I think we can do that here today, starting here, and as we move forward with that courageous mindset of making those changes and to take what we do here today and implement it. So I will be riding the bus back today too, and I'm excited for that experience as well. So I'm excited to be here with everyone today. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much for having us here today. You know, this turnout really speaks volumes of the commitment that our region has to this. I do want to say thank you to ATU 587 for convening this. All of the partners. It's so great to see people from every corner of King County, the King County government, Metro, all of it together. It is unfortunate that it took a tragedy to get this started, but we're going to use this opportunity to really come together and come with some real life solutions. Not only have I been mayor, I'm in my third term now. Before that, I was a King County prosecutor, and I see one of my former colleagues from the prosecutor's office with us here today. And I had cases that originated on Metro buses. But one of the other things that I bring as a unique perspective is when I used to go to downtown, almost every day of my 16-year career at the King County prosecutor's office started on a Metro bus. The 177 started heading up north. And I used to take either a Metro bus or a Sound Transit bus on the way home. And I think those experiences, not only as a prosecutor, as a mayor, but also as a rider, as a customer, I think will give me a unique perspective. And we all have that perspective. We've, as Mayor Schilling said, we've all found ourselves on a bus. And I think one of the things I think is really important that we take away from this is real life, concrete steps that can be taken, because as we all know, these things, they don't happen in a vacuum. They happen sometimes when someone gets on a bus, you could tell almost automatically there's going to be an issue. It's a slow boil, and all of a sudden passengers find themselves in a situation in which they start asking, what do I do? Do I alert the driver? And I think that we need to make sure that as situations happen like that, we need to make sure that the drivers and the passengers and everybody involved has real life recourse. And we need to empower the folks that are in those buses, because those individuals, I had a spot I usually went to. I had my book, and the first thing I would do is, get comfortable, open a book, and that would be my journey for 45 minutes. And I always felt, most always, felt comfortable. But when those folks that are on those coaches really depend on each other and really assume that they're going to get to their destination. So what we want to make sure is that we streamline processes for notification to law enforcement, that we have real life and ways for passengers that they see something that's really starting to boil, that they have recourse, and we want to empower those individuals as well. I think we can do it. We've got a great turnout here today, and once again, thank you to 587 ATU for your leadership in this. Thank you, everybody.
Well, welcome everyone here. I'm Angela Burney. I'm the mayor of the city of Redmond. I'm going to try not to repeat all that was said before me. It is wonderful to see this room full. All of the individuals that are willing to work on this really challenging problem, this extremely important problem that we have, to ensure that we have safe transit throughout our region. Yesterday I rode the 545 in from Redmond. It was standing room only, bus after bus after bus. We have high ridership in Redmond, and that's more to come with the next 2 light rail stations opening up in our community and going fully across the bridge by the end of the year. We rely on our transit operators to ensure that all of those vehicles get to their destination safely and that our riders get to where they need to be. It's up to us as elected officials and all of us in the room to ensure that our operators are safe in their jobs. So I'm grateful to everyone who organized this today. I'm looking forward to hearing all of these amazing ideas. And I also concur that it's not just the ideas, but what do we do on the next steps and put things into action to ensure that we have safe transit throughout our region. So thank you all for being here today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Nancy Backus, Mayor for the City of Auburn. I am humbled and honored to be here today, but I am also sad and I am also angry that we have to be here today. It should not be because we have lost a valued member of our community to gun violence. But it happened and we are here. And when I look out and I see all of you here that are willing to work on this together, it brings me hope. So I also feel hope today. Public safety, and especially transit worker safety, is a major problem for Auburn, and we're no stranger to transit violence. Last year in July, we had a terrible shooting that occurred just moments after someone got off a King County Metro bus, feet away from passengers and operators. While the shooting was targeted and gang-related, the fallout was not just limited to the shooters or the victims. Luckily, no transit employees or bystanders were hurt, but our residents and visitors were rightly scared and upset. Not to mention the poor operator who was caught in the crossfire. We listened to our community, and in response to that shooting, launched a year-long series of public safety meetings to hear directly from our residents. Many of those discussions have led to actionable decisions. And we're continuing those conversations and action this year and beyond, and will be remaining committed to public safety, especially in the case of our transit workers. We want you to feel and be safe when you operate in Auburn, just like we want everyone in our community to be safe. We're committed to region-wide solutions. One of those region-wide solutions is flock cameras. Maybe you've heard of those, but most of the cities in our area have them. And when a crime occurs in one city and the people who have committed that crime have left your city and gone to another city can pick them up on those flock cameras. They are a great benefit to us, and we will continue to use those. It helped last year in a kidnapping case that we had in Auburn. I know that we think about first responders, and many of you out there are the obvious first responders, but I never want us to lose sight of who I think is the first responder, and those are our 911 call receivers and call dispatch people. They are the ones that we have to rely on to ensure that the information that you are getting is getting to you in the right manner at the right time. We're all in this together. We all want to make sure that our community is safe, that Shawn and his coworkers the people that he left behind, never have to worry about their safety again. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. I look forward to working with you to find solutions that will make our entire community safe. Thank you.
We are now going to transition to hear some firsthand accounts from operators, enforcement officials, transit riders, community service workers, and stakeholders, voices who are at the center of this issue, who can share some real challenges that their communities are facing and the solutions that are already in motion. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Jack Millman, transit operator, Under Sheriff Jesse Anderson, King County Sheriff's Office, Chief Eric Drever, Tukwila Police, Kelly Ryder from DCHS, Vonnie Mayer, Valley Communications Center, and Kiana Parker, who is a transit rider.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here today. It makes my heart feel warm that we got a lot of support for our drivers and passengers. I'm not a speaker, so I'm a little nervous up here, so bear with me. My passengers may not recognize me. I usually wear my hat backwards, but all right. Metro has taken some steps to make it safer for us, and we appreciate that. But we all do need to do more. Because we do go through a lot of different jurisdictions. And as drivers, when we call for help, it's really scary when you don't get a response. You're sitting there with somebody yelling at you right there, and there's nothing you can do. You're just praying for that assistance. And so times like that, we need quicker response. We also, my position here today is actually to share what we see to you guys. So if you have questions or questions or comments, please share with us. I'm part of the security committee at North Base. We've been there. I've been doing it for 25 years, and so I've seen a lot. And so, but we are making progress, and really excited to move forward here. We do need to make more than just a security approach. We need to mental health issues, housing issues, drug and alcohol resources. We've all talked about that here today, but we see it directly on the streets. So we want to, because all these folks come in our buses. And a lot of you guys, you ride with us, so you see it too. Now it's time to act upon what we see. I guess that's all I got for this time, but thank you very much.
All right, I'll try not to take too long, and I'll stay on script. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Under Sheriff Jesse Anderson. I would like to start out by saying thank you to ATU, spread out there, for the invite to this task force kickoff meeting. This is very important for us, so we're happy to be part of this. I think it's important that we're bringing all the impacted people and agencies together to discuss this alarming public safety concern. The increase in violence in our community has impacted all of us, but more specifically, there continues to be an upward trend of both harassment and physical violence against our transit operators. The abuse our operators face daily is troubling and it cannot be tolerated. There must be a zero-tolerance approach for both verbal and physical attacks against the people we rely on to safely get us to our destinations. Our operators are simply doing their jobs, and there must be accountability for disorderly transit conduct and other criminal behavior. It's been my experience, and that's almost 34 years now, that when rules and laws are enforced fairly and consistently, behavior will change. Setting the expectation of culturally acceptable behavior will correct bad behavior. Kind of basic human thing, right? Please know that the work of the deputies will also include a philosophy, our philosophy in the Sheriff's Office, of policing with compassion and respect. We will continue our partnerships with outreach organizations, such as Department of Community and Human Services, who you'll hear from in a minute, Kelly Ryder, to help those in crisis or suffering from addiction to get the services they need. The good news is we're seeing results now in our efforts to hold people accountable under Operation Safe Transit. As you heard Executive Constantine talk about the 500 or so arrests, to go along with that stat, the overall contacts that we've had out there since May 1st of 2024 is over 28,000 contacts that are transit related. So these are coach checks, station checks, train rides, following buses, escorts, all the stuff that we do in transit to be visibly present, to engage with the operators, the people we serve out there, and to help create a feeling of safety for them, and as well as the actual safety, right, being there for them. So we're very happy. I'm very proud of the people of the Sheriff's Office who have been involved in this effort. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of hours, a lot of time commitment and dedication to this important endeavor. This is not going to be solved by law enforcement alone. Working with our partners, like those you're hearing from today, will play an important role in this effort. This will require a multidisciplinary team approach to keep our operators and the public safe. Together, we will need to send the message that the use of bus stops and train stations for purposes other than using the systems is not okay, period. These are not places to loiter and engage in illegal or disorderly acts. If that's the choice they make, then there will be consequences and they will be moved along. We will need to be vigilant but realistic in our approach because there are only so many resources to go around. Continuing to do this emphasis work together at our problem areas will help us achieve our long-term goal of sustainable results, but this will take time. The King County Sheriff's Office, including our Metro and Sound Transit policing agencies, are committed within our available resources to do this important work. We will also look forward to supporting the 10 deputy ads that will be at the request of Metro that will be coming soon. But overall, for both Metro and Sound, we in the Sheriff's Office are committed to filling those vacancies that you've been waiting so long to fill. We're getting things back in shape within law enforcement and hiring those positions that have been vacant and filling those positions. So we will continue in that endeavor, and our commitment to you is to build up our transit policing agencies. We appreciate our partnerships with both Metro and Sound, and we look forward to our work together in this task force effort. Thank you all, and especially 587.
Good afternoon. I'm Eric Drever. I have the honor of being the Chief of Police for the Tukwila community. I want to give a quick shout out to our brother Shawn, who is Tukwila family, graduated from Foster High School. It is heartbreaking when we lose anyone, but when we have ties to them, it makes it even that much more devastating. So I wanted to give him a moment of thought. recently had a community gathering where we were talking about public safety. So I'm going to simply reiterate some of the things that we were talking about. Public safety is more encompassing than simply law enforcement. I think everybody in this room understands that. It includes our infrastructures. It includes the people that are working on those infrastructures, the lights at the park, the lights on our streets, our public transit. Every aspect of how we provide service to our communities ties into public safety. However, at the base of it is law enforcement, and we can't do it ourselves, as well as I'm sure most people in the room are very familiar with the struggles we've been having to staff our police departments. We're seeing that change. There's a good positive impact from that. However, for us to be able to move forward, we need to be able to take those experiences and allocate resources appropriately. We were asked to provide information about things that are going well. We were also asked, what's not going so well. One of the areas I think that we do well in is we coordinate when we come together in instances like this. However, I think that we all can do a better job as it comes to follow through and continuing to make sure those efforts force the resources where they're needed most. So one of the things that we should be focusing on as we go into our breakout sessions and beyond is making sure that we are looking at objective data to drive the decisions that we're making that then allocates where we're going to be putting our efforts and resources, because we do not have the resources to have a law enforcement officer on every bus, on every line. So with that, we need to be thinking creatively. Where do we put our resources? What is it that's impacting the line? Begins with the egress to the buses, to the light rails. What are they doing before they even get on the bus? What we allow to happen at the stations, what we allow to happen at bus stops, transfers to what then happens on the bus. So we need to make sure that we're addressing that. And it's something as simple as keeping it clean. That makes a difference. So as we have our discussions today, I encourage everybody to be real, as Claudia had pointed out, and have those difficult discussions. It is important for us to make sure that we're acknowledging and holding ourselves accountable for our failures so that we can do better and provide the service that our communities deserve. So with that, I offer commitment on behalf of Tukwila to do our part to make sure that we can see public safety for our transportation excel and get better for our community, because they deserve it. So thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Kelly Ryder, and I have the privilege of serving as the county's Director of the Department of Community and Human Services. I want to thank ATU, as well as the county council members and others who have helped to establish this task force and the opportunity to participate today and throughout this process. I show up here both as the Director of DCHS, who is responsible for deploying our county's behavioral health system, but also as an individual who has ridden and continues to ride the 28 and the D line, and as a mom whose student will depend on Metro to be able to get to and from middle school starting next year. As I and the department start engaging in this process, we are committed to doing our part to foster a safe transit experience for all operators and riders, including those with behavioral health conditions and their family and friends. We need safe public transit to help us move, affordable housing to keep us stable, and a place for care when we do have a behavioral health crisis. When one of those necessities doesn't exist, the entire community feels the impacts. And yet we know that when basic needs are met, and as the executive mentioned, when we foster belonging in our communities, we can strengthen our public safety. And we're making progress on this point. We've opened thousands of new affordable homes. We are in the midst of opening 5 new crisis care centers so that individuals in behavioral health crisis have a place to go. And we continue to implement 13 actions that we've been working on over the past year to respond to our community's opioid epidemic. Our region is facing significant behavioral health challenges due to historic state and federal disinvestment, disconnection due to the COVID pandemic, and the opioid epidemic. We all now know someone who is either at risk or currently experiencing a behavioral health crisis. Everyone in our community has a role to play in being prepared to support someone in a behavioral health crisis, just like we should all be prepared to support someone having a heart attack or another physical health emergency. but DCHS holds a specific responsibility to ensure that we have a robust, available, accessible, effective, and equitable behavioral health system. By investing in places for people to go for immediate care, affordable housing, and longer-term care, we can help people meet their needs. We make investments to create pathways for someone to call, someone to respond, and somewhere to go. And I'm happy to participate in the task force as we continue to evolve those responses and make sure that we are delivering the best services possible to continue to increase and preserve and expand operator and rider transit safety. I look forward to continuing these conversations, developing and implementing relevant recommendations as this task force moves forward. Thank you.
As I look around this room, I'm honored to be at the table. It's a privilege to have the 911 professionals' voice heard and seen in these community meetings and these task force. It's such an important collective effort to make sure that we are serving our citizens and our communities at the best possible level. Our commitment is providing a service that gives you a seconds matter type of service. There's not a lot of time in these crises to try to get all the perfect information, and that's why being together in this room is important, so we can, as Chief Drever said, communicate more effectively, make it more seamless for the person accessing 911 in crisis, whether it's the citizen, the community member, the transit worker, anyone along the line in public safety. As someone who's been doing this for almost 40 years now, it's such an honor to, again, look out and see the welcoming faces and the determination to lean in, have some hard conversations, get real about the differences this region faces when it comes to public safety and 911 services. There's a different landscape that we have to acknowledge, and I think being here in the room gets us moving in that right direction. So I want to thank everyone here for being here, and we as 911 professionals are committed to making public safety better. Thank you.
My name is Kiana Parker. I'm here as a community member and a frequent transit rider. I want to start just by saying I've been taking King County Metro across the county for over the last 25 years. First as a college student who recently moved to Seattle and who decided to stay. And now as a professional working in downtown Seattle. I've taken transit at all times of day and night. I worked for many years in the hotel industry, so I got off work at 11 p.m. for many, many years. I've seen how difficult it is to feel safe going home at that hour. But I can also say that transit for me has been for the most part, a very positive experience. And I have a very different experience from a lot of other people who travel on transit. I am 5'2" tall. I am 120 pounds. I am a woman of color. I am a woman of color with a disability. And I oftentimes rely on the goodwill of other people to make my life work. And in hearing many of the comments that have been said so far, I was just as angry as many of you when I heard about Shawn Yim's death. But also with the law enforcement language that has been used so far, I can tell you quite honestly that I'm also really, really concerned about how we collectively respond in this moment. I'm also a part of the King County Metro Safety Task Force, and many of the people on that task force are community members and community members of color. And we don't feel like the solution should just be about flooding the zone with more law enforcement. There has to be a community-centered approach to the solution that recognizes all of us and that recognizes that the conversation around safety has to be more than just what happens on a bus or what happens at a bus stop. It really has to include more honest conversations about what causes fear. Because for people like me, when I see law enforcement, that doesn't make me feel safe outside. That doesn't make me feel comfortable on transit. It actually makes me feel the opposite. And that is very much a product of where I'm from, what I've seen, my own personal experience, the experiences of my friends, the experiences of my family. So I just want this room to be mindful of that as well. Thank you.
Thank you everyone who has spoken to share your expertise. As you all have heard, we will have small group discussions where we will get to dive into these topics a lot more deeply and a lot more creatively. So please join me in giving a hand to everyone who has spoken so far.